23 draft picks in the last 2 years. Let me say that again. 23 draft picks in the last 2 years for the Texas Longhorns. That's more than any school in America. This train is rolling here in Austin, Texas, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. What's up, guys and gals? Welcome in to another edition of the BK Show. This is your one-stop shop for Texas Longhorns content on YouTube. I'm your host, BK Brad Kellner, and it's another edition of Texas Under 10, giving you everything you need to know about the Texas Longhorns in less than 10 minutes because you've got shit to do. We're recapping the 2025 NFL Draft. 12 Longhorns selected over the 3 days, a year after the Longhorns had 11 players selected in 2024. And again, 23 combined in the last 2 drafts. That's more than any other university in the country. It's a big part of why Texas football is the only team in the country to make it to back-to-back college football playoff semifinals. And get used to it because these aren't anomalies. This is the new normal. I know people hated that phrase, the new normal after COVID. And I know some Texas haters probably hate that phrase being used to describe the Longhorns, but this is the new normal for Texas football. We're going to see stuff like this happen just about every single season. Texas had at least one player drafted in each of the 7 rounds. And oh, by the way, you look at the last 2 years, Texas has had at least one player at every offensive and defensive position get drafted. So it's development across the board. It's not just Sark the quarterback whisperer anymore. It's Sark the developer for every single position. And yeah, you're seeing why that matters on Saturdays. And yeah, it's going to continue for Texas Longhorn football. And oh, by the way, this morning I looked at a way too early 2026 mock draft. I saw one from CBS Sports that has Arch Manning going number 1 overall and Anthony Hill going number 3 overall. Could you imagine if Texas has 2 of the top 3 next year? Now, look, I don't want to rush Arch Manning out of here. Hopefully, we got a couple of years with Manning under center, but just goes to show you what the league thinks of Texas right now. And it goes to show you the job that Texas has done developing talent in the last few seasons. Oh, by the way, that same mock draft from CBS Sports also had C.J. Baxter and Manny Muhammad going in the first round. Texas had 3 Longhorns go on night 1 this year. CBS Sports saying there could be 4 Horns going on night 1 in 2026. And oh, by the way, you've got Trevor Gooseby, who's going to be draft eligible. You've got Ethan Burke. You've got Trey Moore. You've got Michael Taft. You've got DJ Campbell. You've got DeAndre Moore. You've got Quintravion Wisner. You've got the Cal transfer Jack Endries. I'm missing a few. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Texas has double-digit players drafted again next year. I'm telling you, Steve Sarkisian has built a locomotive. In the words of Walter White, nothing stops this train. The snowball is going to keep snowballing. The train's going to keep going. The chain reaction is going to keep reacting. It's crazy. And it's so nice to see. If you're a Texas fan who put up with the dozen years of suck from 2010 to 2022, you know how good this feels because Texas could not develop talent at the end of the Mac Brown era and throughout the entirety of the Charlie Strong and Tom Herman eras. Texas was recruiting pretty well. The Longhorns were bringing in top 10 classes more often than not, but guys were not getting developed. That's why Texas had 0 players drafted after Steve Sarkisian's first year. And it's why in an 8-year stretch from 2016 to 2023, Texas had a total of 21 players drafted. Again, they've had 23 picked in the last 2 drafts. The 8 years prior, they had 21 players selected. A lot has changed with the Longhorns, and guys are getting developed. And oh, by the way, the recruiting has gotten even better. It's 4 straight top 5 classes, and of course, the number 1 class in America. Texas is recruiting high school really well. They're also recruiting out of the transfer portal incredibly well, and they're developing guys both from high school and from college football transfer portal. Obviously, A.D. Mitchell and Matthew Golden, 2 prime examples of transfers who got even better when they got to Austin, Texas. And y'all see this little screen share of the 12 players selected from Texas in this year's draft. I mean, look, Gunnar Helm is a 3-star. You got a bunch of 4-stars there. Hayden Connor was a 3-star. It's not just the 5-stars that are turning into NFL players here at Texas. Hell, Quinn Ewers was the highest ranked recruit out of all of these guys, and he was the last Longhorn selected. So it's not just the top of the top, the blue chippiest of the blue chip recruits that are turning into Sunday players. No, now it's 3-stars and even low 4-stars who are getting developed into NFL draft picks. And again, that just was not happening at Texas for more than a decade. And what a recruiting chip Texas now has. I mean, for years, it was so easy to negatively recruit against Texas. All you could do was just turn on the draft and say, there are no Longhorns getting picked. Why would you want to go to school there? They're turning 5-stars into 3-stars. They're turning 4-stars into 2-stars. Why would you go there? And it's why you saw Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama and LSU and insert school here coming into the state of Texas and being able to poach top talent year in and year out. And look, that still happens. Texas isn't going to be able to get everybody, but Texas is able to get a lot more now. Again, the number one class in the country here in 2025. It's because they have things that they can point to. It's not just hope that this coaching staff can sell. Hey, hopefully we can turn things around because we're Texas and we feel like we should. No, it's actually been turned around. And again, 25 wins the last 2 years, tied for the most in the country. The only school to make it to back-to-back college football playoff semifinals. And then, of course, you've got the 23 draft picks as well that you could point to and say, hey, we know you want to be good on Saturday, and we know you want to make money in college, and we've got that too. We've got plenty of NIL for you if you come to the University of Texas. But also, we know that your goal is to play on Sundays. And if you want to win and compete in the best conference in the sport and get developed into a draft pick, this is the place you want to be. For years, Texas had the school, they had the city of Austin, they had obviously the state of Texas because there's so much talent here in the state of Texas, but now they also have the success that they could point to go with it. And also the fact that Texas is now an SEC school definitely helps because once again, the Southeastern Conference had more players drafted than any other conference in college football. That stuff matters. And that is another thing that Texas now has at its disposal. So the development is happening all across the board. And I don't think that's changing anytime soon. I think Texas will have double-digit players drafted next season, and you keep going down the line. I feel like that's going to continue moving forward, and it's why there's a good chance Texas opens up the 2025 season as the number one team in America. Man, they've got one of the Heisman favorites in Arch Manning. They've got a guy who's actually the Vegas favorite to be the number one pick in next year's draft in Arch Manning. And even though the Longhorns have clearly lost a lot of talented pieces the last couple of seasons, look, they had no problems withstanding that. They got right back to where they were. Hell, they had to win a couple of playoff games to get back to where they were in 2024. And I fully expect them to be in the mix in 2025. So, again, this thing is in a great spot right now. Can't say enough good things about Steve Sarkisian and his entire staff. Obviously, it's not just a one-man job here. You know, Kyle Flood and Pete Kwiatkowski and Jeff Banks, the coordinators, deserve a bunch of credit. And that's a huge thing that Texas has had going for them as well is, yeah, there's a lot of position coach turnover. And we had a lot of that this offseason. But the fact that you're going into year 5 and you're able to keep all of your coordinators intact from the moment you stepped foot on campus, that is so rare, especially at Texas. For Texas, it wasn't guys leaving for better jobs. It was usually guys weren't doing their jobs, so they were getting fired. Now, no, like you don't want Kyle Flood to go anywhere. You don't want PK to go anywhere. You don't want Jeff Banks to go anywhere. And thankfully, those guys haven't gone anywhere. So I don't want to sit here and make it sound like it's always going to be easy and, oh, there's not going to be any bumps in the road. Not every year is going to be elite. But, man, this thing is cooking right now. It is a fun time to be a Texas football fan. It's been a while since you've been able to say that, but this thing is really good right now, and I think it has sustained lasting power as well because of the job that Steve Sarkisian and his staff are doing, not only evaluating talent, not only bringing in the talent, but developing the talent. Every Longhorn fan knows that that is the most important aspect to all of this. And yeah, you look at this picture to my right, 12 players drafted, 3 in the first round, 3 more on day 2. And I think Texas had 5 or 6 guys signed as undrafted free agents as well. So they'll get their opportunities to compete for a roster spot. Again, great time to be a Longhorn fan. And like Heisenberg says, Nothing stops this train. That's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you made it this far, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment with your thoughts as well as we wrap up another edition of Texas Under 10. Remember, when you watch the BK show, you rule. See y'all soon. Hook 'em.